World Figure Skating Championships. A jam-packed General Motors Place getting ready for lunchtime.
In this group representing China, Zhang Min.
The men's short program center stage tonight. Along with Tracy Wilson, I'm Rod Black. First skater we'll see tonight, perhaps the best jumper in the world, Zhang Min, the Chinese champion. Unfortunately, has to do a big jump in the standings, tied for 15th before the night begins, but he is capable of making a quantum leap.
His music from the Tarzan soundtrack. He is known as a jumper and will open here with his quadruple toe loop. Yes. An explosive combination, triple axel, triple toe. He was so disappointed after his qualifying performance. He said it was not indicative of how he's been skating. He said it is going to be a different story in the short. His prediction was right.
Zhang Min was 5th at last year's Worlds in Nice, France. He is coming off a championship victory in Salt Lake City at the Four Continents event.
Required elements. 2 of those elements have to be footwork sequences. Zhang Min's footwork has improved considerably in the past year, though not quite as much speed as some of the top competitors. To come tonight. And we are off to a flying start at the Worlds.
Tonight, the men wage battle in Vancouver. The Russian gladiator is down, but he's not out. While the Canadian version is alive and well. American Todd Eldridge has served notice that he is ready. So's his countryman, Tim Gable. Japan's Takeshi Honda is also ready to roll, and Evgeny Plushenko leads the field. It's the men's short program, and it's tonight on CTV. CTV Sports proudly presents coverage of the 2001 World Figure Skating Championships from Vancouver, BC, where we are just about a 20-minute drive away from that Capilano Suspension Bridge over on the North Shore Mountains. And hello again, everybody. Welcome to CTV's coverage of the Worlds. I'm Dave Randolph. Well, this competition sure got off to a very intriguing start yesterday. Qualifying day for the men and a disastrous day for the three-time defending world champion Alexei Yagudin of Russia. He struggled through his free skate. We later found out that it was a foot injury causing the problem, and there was talk that he may have to withdraw. Well, here is the very latest. Alexei Yagudin had an X-ray done on that right foot. It came back negative. Then he had an MRI done, and that showed an inflamed tendon on the outside of his right foot. He had that foot frozen before this morning practice session earlier today. He looked all right. Coming up here, you will see his attempted quad jump, which he did not land, but he did land other jumps, and it appeared as though he would be good to go for tonight's short program. He will have that foot frozen again tonight, and he'll leave that decision for after his warm-up. So this story still develops, and when we know, you will know. 2 hours of coverage for you coming up tonight on CTV, also including the dance compulsories with Bourne and Kratz and Dubroy and Lausanne competing for Canada. But right now, the story is the men and the short program, and for more on that, let's send you back to Rod and Tracy.
Thank you, Dave. The last time the World Championships, Trace, were held in Canada, 1996 in Edmonton. Remember the short program in the men's division? Elvis Stojko had a disastrous short program, fell to 7th. The headline in the Edmonton Sun the next day was, and it caused a lot of controversy, Elvis is dead. This is what was in the Vancouver province
Much
today.
better news today. Elvis Stojko alive and well, and he's tied for 3rd after the qualifying rounds. But Elvis said after his performance in the Q rounds that he was going to have to build throughout the competition if he's to be a contender. This portion of the competition definitely favors Elvis' style with his mental toughness, but working against Elvis is the fact that this will be his first competition in the short program since last year's World Championships.
Elvis lives, Alexei limps. I thought during the Q round yesterday that Yagudin was thinking about pulling the chute and withdrawing.
He did look like it, especially when he fell on his death drop, which is quite an easy maneuver for him. But actually, it was a look of frustration. So frustrated that his foot was not allowing him to do what he wanted to do. The good news for Yagudin is if he wins the short and the long program, he will defend his title. The bad news is this is such a tough competition that it's a tall order to be able to win if you're not feeling 100%.
Lots of energy in this building. Sold-out crowd. What a night it's going to be. And here's who we'll show you tonight. A dozen skaters. Emmanuel Sandhu, 18th at the Worlds 2 years ago. Tied for 7th right now. What a boost. He's in the same group with Alexei Yagudin, the defending world champion. The final flight, we'll see Evgeny Plushenko hit leadoff. And then some quadruple jump attempts, of course. Timothy Gable, you'll see one from him. Takeshi Honda, Elvis Stojko. Todd Eldridge, will he try the quad?
He has never landed it in a short program in competition. We will find out on the warm-up if he's going to take the risk or play it safe.
Final skater tonight, Stanik Jeanette from France. One man who had no problem with the quad. The marks now for Cheng Li.
What a pure jumper. The distance, the height, and the speed on his landing. That shows perfect technique when you can come out as quickly or faster than when you go in. And again, look at the distance that he covers on the triple axel and triple toe for his second jump. What a high degree of difficulty. And what a satisfying short program for Zhang Min.
Certainly better than yesterday here in Vancouver. The quads weren't there. The performance wasn't there. But he will move up the ladder here.
Judges also looking at the spins and the footwork. They take that into consideration on the first mark. Not as high as some that you'll see because of his footwork, and it spins a little slow to rotate, but an excellent set of marks for Zhang Min.
Plus, they are leaving room. We have another 12 skaters to come. Well, he's back, Cheng Li, and will come back to Vancouver after this.
5-5, 5-4.
General Motors Place, 2 flights to come. Men's short program. Qualifier yesterday, and all eyes will be on this man right now. Alexei Yagudin turned 21 on Sunday. Did not celebrate his birthday very well yesterday in the qualifying round. Suffering from an injury on his right foot, an injury that occurred when he was running recently.
Russia, Alexander Up.
So far, he looks all right in this warm-up. And if someone said that Alexei Yagudin would be in the second last flight for the short program, the World Championships, you might have looked at that person and said, you're crazy. But anything can happen, as we know, at the World Championships, particularly, Tracy, with injuries.
And that was the move he fell on in the qualifying round when we thought, hey, he might just pull out. He handled it well there. The foot held up fine. His doctor, Jordan, surgeon from British Columbia, has been examining Alexei, and he said, you know what, if you were my son, I'd let you nowhere near the ring. Concerned that the freezing might cause more damage to his foot, but Alexei is determined he's going to give it a try.
And it is not mission impossible. The mathematics could work out that he could make it 4 World Championships in a row, but it is, as you mentioned, a tall, tall order.
The one thing that will get Alexei through is his training and the number of competitions he has under his belt. He is used to competing when he's sick, when he's tired, and being able to deliver.
Yesterday, before he was about to go on the ice, he was noticeably limping. And we wondered if he'd make it through. He did, but obviously had a lot of errors and a lot of pain. Not only is he a question mark, but so is Emmanuel Sandhu. What a great position he's in right now. Tied for 7th. Was 4th in his qualifying pool. Again, a favorable grouping yesterday. He skated early in the morning. Emmanuel might have won his qualifier had he landed a couple of jumps that he fell on.
There was a triple toe. He will turn that into a quad. Now, key here for Emmanuel is being able to deliver and to block out the adrenaline of this audience. The last 2 times he has competed with his short program, he has made 2 mistakes. And if you do that, make mistakes like that in this field of competitors, he risks getting buried.
There are some scientists who do studies with telemeters and biomechanics, and they often talk about a skater's heart rate. And consistently, the highest rate for most skaters is when their name is announced. And Emmanuel Sandhu is that kind of skater, as we have seen, that isn't able to block a lot out. We'll see if he can tonight. Alexei Yagudin, the world champion, looking good in warm-up so far. We'll be back to the 2001 Worlds in a moment. Alexei Yagudin's gladiator yesterday did not fare well, but he had a pretty routine warm-up. Did not land a quadruple jump. Does have one planned. As these skaters, the 6 that we'll watch, and then the final 6 tonight, get ready for the short program.
Represents China, Yunfei Li.
Zhang Li of China is our leader right now. We've had skaters already perform tonight. And here is another high flyer from China. This is 21-year-old Yunfei Li. His first world championship experience.
His music by the Russian orchestra, Waltz, big stage.
And you hope his music doesn't do what it did yesterday. He had a stoppage halfway through and had to restart.
Here comes his quad. Yes, quad triple to open his performance. Here comes his triple axel. He was 4th at his national championships and 8th in the 4 continents. on that spin. Good spinner stays in the same place.
Yunfei Li. Yesterday the music stopped. Today the crowd's on its feet again. His marks after this. And to watch.
Jump. The key elements are the jumps, a double or a triple axel, a solo jump, and a jump combination. Solo jump has to be a triple or a quad. Jump combination, triple, 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 double, quad double, or a quad triple. Lots of choice there, and the judges also really focusing on the spins. They'll count the revolutions and the position that the skaters hit in the spin will be taken into account. Footwork also a very important element. There's 2 footwork sequences in the short program.
The marks are required.
Here's a look at his opening combination, a quad, triple, making it look very easy. Perfect straight position in the air.
Back in 1988, Kurt Browning landed the first quadruple jump in Budapest at the World Championships, and now they're landing quads in short programs. We are going to see a number of quads tonight. Look at these marks for Yunfei Li.
How's that for your first World Championship?
We are going to have a Li leaderboard. Yunfei Li in first. Pretty good presentation marks. Zhang Min is second. China is 1-2 right now. And a split panel in the short program from the judges in the ordinals.
Our next competitor representing Japan, Yamato Tamura.
Here's another member of the quad squad. Yamato Tamura, who at the Four Continents Championship landed both of his quads in the free skate. Has a quad planned in this short program tonight. He is the second-ranked Japanese skater. The first-ranked is one of the leaders after the qualifying group yesterday, Takeshi Honda, who will skate in our final flight tonight.
Got up in the air, didn't feel right, opened it up. On that sit spin, how quickly he was spinning.
but is going to face some serious deductions. And up next, Canada's champion. And there is the judging panel. The International Skating Union now keeps the judges' names and nationalities anonymous from the crowd in the building, but we're going to give them to you.
Interesting to note, judge number 7, Debbie Island. She lives in Barrie, Ontario. So Canada is represented on the panel, but USA, Russia, and China are not on the panel.
It shouldn't make a difference. And it didn't yesterday in the pairs program. Well judged yesterday. And boy, Yamato Tamura knows he failed to deliver here.
You can't win it on the short program, but you can lose it on the short program. A total of 1.1 in deductions for mistakes on the quad, the combination, and the spin.
That is why they call it the kiss and cry area. A lot of emotion there.
And he will get buried with those marks.
And he falls way down the list. So Zhang Min, who we showed you at the beginning of the night, continues to move up the standings. And now the heartbeats.
Our next competitor representing Canada, Emmanuel Sandhu.
Focus. That's what Coach Joanne McLeod said to Emmanuel Sandhu. Begins the night tied for 7th.
And what is so difficult about this short program is you cannot do the jump when you feel like it, when you're ready. You must do it on demand. Emmanuel will have one shot at his quad, and it is coming up first.
Landed a great one in warm-up.
As long as he skates clean from here on in, he'll be okay, but he needs this. It's his triple axel. Singled it. Is on the next axle. It's supposed to be a double. Yes, he did it. In the past competitions, he's tried a triple and missed it also. Smart move by Emmanuel and a beautiful position on the camel spin.
Almost on the quad, but he blew the axle. And it will cost him at the 2001 Worlds. in that triple axel for Emmanuel Sandhu.
He landed 2 in the qualifying round, but what happens is he often tightens up going into it. Now here's his quad at the beginning of the program. Good height. His upper body is just rotating. He was a little back on the heel and thus could not hold on to the landing for a 0.3 to 4 deduction. The triple axel, he just popped. He's got to be aggressive on the edge going into the axle, which he wasn't. But this is what Emmanuel does so well. Look at this line coming from his years of dance training. And this will help, especially his second mark.
That second mark, he needs some high marks on that to keep him around or near the top 10. That's the goal here for the Canadian men, to send 3 men to the Olympic Games in Salt Lake City. A number between the 2 skaters, Elvis and Emmanuel, that is close to 13, but doesn't exceed it. And these marks are going to push Emmanuel Sandhu way down the list.
4-4, 4-5, 4-6.
Deserving?
The marks for presentation.
Major errors and a lot of good skaters still to come.
4-9.
And these now the presentation marks, as you can see. Terrific set of marks with the 5-5s across the board, and this is just a demon that Emmanuel Sandhu just has to overcome. A short program.
And several skaters have now passed him that were behind him before the beginning of the night. Emmanuel is 6th. And I talked about sending the 3 skaters to the Olympics. That's what China did last year to send 3 to this year's Worlds, and this is one of the Chinese skaters, Min Zhang, again another skater who has quad in his back pocket. The question is, can he land it here in the pressure cooker?
He will open with his triple axel. Did not get up in the air, landed forward.
Min Zhang was the first ever skater to land a quadruple jump in a short program. That was at the 4 Continents Championships in 1999.
Here comes his quad. He's got a lot of speed. Yes. And a triple toe for his second jump. You have to be able to do in a short program. If you make a mistake, you have to put it behind you and move on to the next element. On his jumps.
So he missed the axle, but hit the quad. Min Zhang, his marks in a moment, and the wounded world champion next at the 2001 World Figure Skating Championships. South Pacific 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central on CTV. We are back in GM Place for the 2001 Worlds. Yunfei Li leads. Zhang Li is second. And on the ice, getting ready to skate, Alexei Yagudin. And looks good so far, not favoring that right foot. We'll see in a moment. Now the marks for Min Zhang.
The best part of his performance was his quad. I love the way he lands his jumps. A nice, soft, deep knee bend. His triple Lutz, though, he did not have the necessary footwork going into it. That was a deduction on his axle. And I wasn't impressed with his spins.
Began the night tied for 11th. After the qualifier, which was worth 20% of the final mark, tonight is worth 30%. Zhang's required elements marks, 5.2 the high end, 4.5 the low end. So not really getting a lot of credit for that quad. Presentation around the same range. Min Zhang falls to 9th right now. And even with quad, he is way down the standings.
Our next competitor from Russia, Alexei Yagudin.
Tells you that there aren't too many borders in skating anymore. This guy is as loved in Canada as he is in Russia. The 3-time world champion. Will the foot hold up? And can he move up the standings?
The music, Chopin's Evolution Etude, and the quad will come up first in the program.
Going to blow the lid off this place. What a gutsy performance. That's like one of the chapters out of an Elvis Stoico story. What a comeback for Alexei Yagudin. I'd say that foot feels pretty good right now, if he can feel it at all. Unbelievable. A guy who could hardly stand up yesterday.
It's all the training and all the competitions that got him through this performance. He knows how to compete. Great height on his quad. Triple toe for his second jump. Not as clean. His jumps weren't as crisp and as on as we have seen him. This triple axel, you can see him fighting for the landing. A little bit slow on flow, but it was sheer heart and determination that got him through this performance.
Well, he skated like a champion. And watch Tatiana Tarasova at the end of this.
5'8", 5'8", 5'8", 5'8",
Priceless.
5'8",
And look at the marks. 5'8", 5.6 from that last judge. Presentation marks, 5'9", 5'8". That final judge from Slovakia. But Alexei Yagudin is first in the short program, and right now first overall. But we have 7 skaters to
Our
come.
next competitor from Russia, Alexander Apt.
Including his countryman, Alexander Apt, who has been battling injuries throughout his entire career. Apt begins the night tied for 7th.
Alexander was 3rd at the Russian Nationals, 4th at Europeans. Height on his triple axel, triple toe for his second jump. His quad is not a consistent jump. He often 2-foots the landing. Here it comes. And that was a 2-foot landing. Wonderful shapes in this footwork. Using his full body, not just the feet, and great flow.
Not bad at all. What a night of skating we have here. Alexander Apt of Russia, his marks when we come back to Vancouver. One more in the final flight, Evgeny Plushenko. Alexei Yagudin is the leader. Keep in mind, if Yagudin wins the short program here, he still has a shot at winning another world title. But for Alexander Abt, a guy who's been chronically injured over the last 4 years, just had a terrible sinus infection at the European Championships. I think this was a victory for him tonight.
Yes, it was. He did 2-foot the quad, but it is not a consistent jump for him. His footwork is beautiful. He has such a great extension and a flow. He almost gallops across the ice. And again, I like the way he uses his entire body when he performs.
He is one of the gladiators we will be talking about Thursday night for the men's free skate. 3 gladiator routines: Alexander Abt, Alexei Yagudin, and Elvis Stojko. Saw them yesterday. All 3 of them pretty different cuts of music. And this gladiator has pretty good marks. But Abt is in 3rd place. Yagudin leads. Yunfei lead. His marks have stood up. He is still 2nd. Emmanuel Sandhu is 8th. 6 skaters to come. We'll come back in a moment to Vancouver, but first let's check in with our official ambassadors of these worlds, ice dancers. The bounce back with the leader. Here's Dave Randorf.
Alexei Yagudin, I'm not sure what the Russian translation is, but what a difference a day makes. How does this feel?
You know, I said yesterday wow when I watched my marks, but today I can also say wow because it was much more pressure for me to skate tonight because still like the worst skating in my life, which I showed yesterday, it was still in my head, so it was quite difficult to get ready for the skating. Also, yesterday we tried to inject my foot and it was successful, so I did already 4 injections today, and just thanks God and thanks the doctor from Canada, which I'm using him right now, so thanks him a lot because otherwise I will be not able even to walk. So this injection worked for like a couple hours, so and successfully it worked here, and I think that as for me it will be really important to be first in the short program. It will give me a chance to win overall. But
absolutely. Now it certainly did work. It was a tremendous performance out there tonight. What will you do from here until Thursday in terms of treatment of the foot injury?
I know, actually, I will try to walk a little bit more tomorrow, so just not to lay in my bed because it will be not really nice, and that's really good for my muscles to be in the bed for the whole day. So I'll try to inject my foot tomorrow also, and just to keep going. And I think tonight's skating and the crowd is amazing, and that will help me on Thursday, right? Yeah. On Thursday evening.
They love you here. You said to me last night, if you could, you're going to stay around and fight. It looks like the Gladiator is going to do that. Thank you, and good luck.
Thanks a lot.
Good champion, charming guy, Alexei Yagudin. They're flooding here. We'll have compulsory dance highlights in a moment, and the final flight of the men from Vancouver on CTV. Hey, the compulsory